Emily from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for May 2022. So May 10th, we have our second major shift taking place. Of course, I would hope that you would have already listened to the first major shift, which was Mercury going retrograde. Very early on in the morning, 7:41 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, we have Mercury going retrograde. 12 hours later at 7:24 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we have Jupiter moving into Aries. So Jupiter is the planet of growth and expansion. He likes to show us the big possibilities of the future. He rules over our beliefs, our possibilities, our faith, our certain set of hope and faith that keeps us going. Very optimistic, very positive in nature. We want to think big. We tend to get a little bit extra. You know, Jupiter is the great magnifier. He likes to put the magnifying glass on whatever it is that we're focused on, whatever energy we got going on. Here's the thing, Jupiter takes 12 years to go through all the zodiac signs. And he has been in Pisces for quite some time. That's why many of us feeling very overwhelmed, very deluded, very detached from reality. Of course, Jupiter's time in Pisces was meant to push us into our spiritualism, to align with our higher self, to get used to and trusting our intuition, to get us in alignment with the big dreams, the big visions that we now have for ourselves. And to really kind of abandon our physical circumstances and not allow our physical circumstances to dictate what is possible for us in the future. The Piscean energy is a water energy. It's very emotional, highly intuitive, very connected to the unconscious collective. That's why many of us have been going through the dark night of the soul. It's a very heavy weight. There's been a lot of ugliness exposed, both on the great grand stage of the collective and in our own individual lives. We've had soul contracts end. We've had our belief system disrupted, and all for good reason. We are being kind of prepared for a brand new beginning, a brand new initiative that takes place when Jupiter moves into Aries. Aries is the very first sign of the zodiac. It is a fire energy. Fire energy brings the spark back, brings life force energy back. Aries energy, being the very first sign of the zodiac, brings the spark back for us to reinvent ourselves, for us to put ourselves back together from our broken stage that we just went through, having things fall apart on us. It is time for us to rise to the challenge, to rise to the occasion, to see where the opportunities for us to put ourselves back at the top of the list is first and foremost. So Aries energy brings us an opportunity to start fresh, to begin again, to initiate a brand new cycle that will be lasting for the next 12 years. We are focused on what new elements we need to bring to our lives because, of course, we are tired with the old ones. The old ones are painful. The old ones have essentially shook us to our core, where we recognize we don't want to feel this way anymore. And because of that, we recognize where new things need to be built. Again, we're in Taurus season. We're building and creating and manifesting and giving birth to new foundations and structures in our physical realms and our lives is absolutely essential if we plan on bringing some of our dreams and some of our visions to life. This Aries energy wants us to be independent again. Jupiter, while in Pisces, very focused on the collective, had us doing things that maybe weren't making us happy, but were making other people happy. And what happened? Well, we got our life force energy sucked out of us for putting other people ahead of ourselves. Now we get to kind of be, quote unquote, a little bit selfish. Selfishness is not a bad thing. You have to operate from a full cup, be happy and inspired and motivated before you have a chance in hell of helping anyone else. This is going to be a time for us to blaze a brand new path, to take a brand new independent approach on what it is that we need to do for ourselves. This is where we build ourselves back up, where we reinvent ourselves, where we reorganize who it is that we are now that we've detached from some of the old people, the old vibrations, the old frequencies, not supporting us, not motivating us to move forward and make a change, from some of the old contracts that are now completed or void, and old attachments that we have definitely made too much of our identity. Of course, that's why many of us have been in a state of endings and closures and pain and suffering, because having some of the things that we've been overly attached to removed from our lives doesn't feel good. We don't know who it is that we are without those certain elements. And now that Jupiter is in Aries, we are damn well and determined to make something out of that pain, to make something out of that suffering. So Jupiter is a very positive aspect. It is a very lucky aspect in a lot of ways. So this is going to bring us some good luck. We need to take the lead. We need to initiate. We need to inspire. We need to motivate. First of all, ourselves. Second of all, everybody else. And we definitely have a lot of energy pushing and cheering and encouraging us to do just that. We have a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of courage, a lot of bravery because of the Aries energy. The Aries energy does not want to look back, has no use for the rear view mirror or the side mirrors. We don't care what's going on behind us or around us. We have a straight line forward. We have new passions, new desires. We want to take the leadership role. We want to build something out of the rubble that just got caused and created in our lives. So this is going to be a challenge, but you know what? We're ready for challenge because we've been sitting around crying about it for far too long. It's better to rise to the challenge and unleash that inner spiritual warrior in order to actually make something of the mess that was created in our lives. And we have a lot of faith in ourselves right now. We have a lot of positivity, even though our circumstances and our physical realms don't dictate that we should be this positive and optimistic. We don't care. Jupiter aligns us with our higher self, our higher source. We have a vision of what is possible, not because our physical circumstances dictate that to us, because our higher selves do. Our dreams, our visions do. And we're going to tap in and lean in all into that in order for us to initiate a brand new path forward. Our faith is restored. We are going to reinvent ourselves. We are going to redesign, reorganize, restructure our lives. We are going to keep as much confidence within ourselves as we can. We don't care if we even fail at bringing some of these elements to life, because failure is a positive aspect. When you have this positive outlook, failure is just a detour. Okay, so we're not even going to get caught up on these obstacles or these challenges. We don't care about what it is that we're leaving behind. We're only focused on what it is that is potentially waiting for us when we put our head down, like the ram that Aries is, and bust through all the blocks and challenges that have been holding us back from moving forward. This is a time where we're going to tap into our competitive nature. Aries energy is very competitive. We want to win. We want to win. It pushes us to do better. It pushes us to do more. It pushes us to muster up the courage and the bravery that we've been lacking just so that we don't sit around crying about it. This is time for us to really grasp the concept that we are building a brand new foundation for the next 12 years of our life. And sometimes we just need a spark. We just need a seed to be planted in order for that foundation, for that plant to actually grow, that we can reap the rewards of for years to come. Now, let me just say, with every energy, there are pros and there are cons. So let's talk about the cons for a second. First of all, we might have too narrow of a focus with those blinders on, right? So we talked about how Aries energy, we don't want to look in the rear view. We don't want to look in the side mirrors. We are hell bent and set on a certain path moving forward. Well, that can do a lot of harm too. If you're not aware of what's going on around you, you might miss an opportunity that would actually get you to your end goal in a faster way than what it is that you are stuck on with these blinders on, with this narrow focus, with this narrow view. So we want to at least open ourselves up to looking in the side mirrors, at least, just to see what's going on around us while we're actively pursuing our path, moving forward, gaining momentum and getting closer to our new passions, to our new desires, to the new beginning that we are looking to initiate. Now, yes, Being selfish is necessary, but we also can take that too far. We have to understand that Jupiter likes to magnify things, so we might take it to an extreme. The me first attitude is good to a certain degree. Many of us have not even put ourselves near the top of the list for far too long. So in that sense, it's going to help us out big time because we're finally putting ourselves first. We're finally making ourselves a priority. However, we can be very, very, insensitive, if you will, to everyone else around us because we're only focused on putting ourselves first. I always like to talk about the analogy about how we should be the stars of our own movie, our own life, and how many of us have given the star role away to other people in our life, and therefore we're playing a co-starring role, a supporting role in the movie of us, and that is the wrong way to be. So we're taking the starring role back, and that's good. We always want to remain the main focus star in our lives, but the co-stars, the supporting actors are very important to our lives as well. They make or break our success. We cannot do this all alone. So there is a balance there of, putting yourself first, but not putting yourself first at the sacrifice of your other relationships and the people that you care about. We have to consider other people's position in life. We have to consider other people's point of view, their ideas. We have to consider other opportunities that may be better for us than the plan that we've structured together for us to pursue. We just have to make sure that, yes, the blinders are on, but that we take them off every now and then and do a good scan of what's going on around us. We also can fall victim to being a little bit extra, being a little bit overconfident, committing to too much. Again, this Aries energy, the downfall, the life lesson, we'll say, of any planet moving into Aries energy is energy management. Aries has a tendency to go balls to the walls, to pour everything into what it is that they want, need, and desire right out of the gate, and then they burn themselves out halfway. They never see the ending. They never see the end goal, ever. They burn themselves out. There's no energy left. So energy management is a thing. And because we're coming into this, hyping ourselves up, being optimistic, being confident, we could take that to an extreme. Again, Jupiter is extra dramatic, extra overwhelming, likes to overdo things, overcommit. And we don't want to overdo our confidence. That will make us arrogant. And the minute that we are arrogant, the universe will correct that in a way that does not feel good to us. We have to understand that even though we have turned the rear view mirror all the way out of our peripheral so that we're not looking back, we're only looking ahead, we have to understand that where we've come from was important to where it is that we're currently at. We have to take into consideration past mistakes. We have to take into consideration past experiences. We can't just cut the cord and put the blinders on and never look back. We have to constantly be bringing the past into our present moment to remind us of the mistakes that we've made in the past or choices that we should have made in the past so that we can constantly remind ourselves of the best choice point for us to make in the here and now. We have to have learned from our past mistakes, but to cut ourselves off from the past and refuse to even think about the past can set us up for repeating those past mistakes and never getting ahead. We have to be very careful with how we balance this energy. And the fact that, Jupiter is a very high vibration, right? He is trying to offer us the big picture perspective. And we tend to kind of delude ourselves with the possibilities. We want to think that everything is possible, but sometimes we bite off more than we can chew, and that can set us up for disappointment or for failure. We need to kind of realize that we have to be analytical. We have to look at the big picture and see the smaller pieces that are needed in order to make that big picture possible. Now, Jupiter would like to only focus on the end goal, on the big picture. Aries energy, again, would like to focus on the end goal. What we're lacking here is attention to detail. We have to understand that the whole purpose of gaining clarity, gaining the big, broad picture of what is possible, is to break it down in manageable pieces so that we can actively start taking action and take control over the elements in the here and now that need to be built so that we can align with the possibility of that great grand vision actually being able to manifest. So yes, we want that big picture, but we have to remind ourselves that that big picture is only possible with the smaller puzzle pieces put together in the correct order to make that picture even possible. So, we are going to go back and forth here. We are going to have to find a comfort zone in between these extreme pros and cons. We are going to have to see, in your own chart where this is happening. This is going to be a major growth for you, the major stage being built, the major seed being planted for this next 12-year cycle. This is a huge development. This is a huge, huge opportunity for us to grow, for us to expand our horizons, for us to believe in ourselves, and most importantly, because it's Aries energy, to believe in ourselves and to be straightforward enough, passionate, bold, courageous enough to go after what it is that we want, to be aggressive enough out in the world to make things happen instead of sitting back and letting things happen to us. And again, I hesitate to say that because everything is happening for us, not happening to us. But you know what I mean. If you sit back just hoping and praying, you're going to take whatever the universe throws at you. This is a time for us to actually be the initiator and actually dig in and set the tone, set the path on what it is that we actually want for ourselves. The last thing I'm going to leave you with is that Jupiter isn't going to stay in Aries. So Jupiter moves into Aries, will stay there until the end of October, and then we'll go retrograde and we'll end up kind of dipping back in this Piscean energy, which will give us a totally different perspective on all it is that we were able to bring to life, what it is that we were able to initiate. We might see some endings and closures be attached to some of the things that we thought we were doing good on in order for Jupiter to move forward, moving through that Piscean energy again, hitting the final degrees that we currently are sitting at right now. So take a good look around at your circumstances of what's happening right now. We might have to revisit some of these circumstances towards the end of the year. And then, we move into December, and then we move into Aries energy up until May of 2023. So there is kind of like a revision. There is a reorganization. There is like a rewind button that happens when any planet goes retrograde. So when Jupiter goes retrograde and we have to kind of backtrack through the progress that we are going to be making from now until Jupiter does go retrograde, there is going to be some revision, some re-edits, some recalibration, some reorganization to the brand new beginnings that we are going to be able to actually bring to life from now until then.